the end of this memorial, if you like, is sort of going through bits of history to remind us of what can happen if we're unchecked as human beings. I would like us to do, because it is 75 years since the Holocaust, and there's another anniversary as well that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to get us all to, well, 75 of us to light a candle. This Tim's being very diligent. He's got 75 candles. They're at the sides here. Okay. We've done our risk assessment. Don't worry, I know some of you. There are 61 of you down here, so this is going to go and grab 14 from upstairs. And the idea is that you will get a candle from either side, one of the sides. You'll bring it out. Okay. You will place it here, okay, and then work your way outwards, okay? And then go and stand at the back there, please. Okay, obviously start at the back, and if you need to fill this area here, great. Okay? Leave space for people to come in, put down their candle, and then move back out. There is just about enough space. Okay, so that'll be right at the end. Alright? There'll be some music playing, we'll have a bit of quiet time to reflect, and then I'll ask you all to leave. Okay. So, this year's theme, because it is a very important anniversary of the Holocaust, they've called it Standing Together. And those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Okay. In 1994, so 26 years ago, in Rwanda, in just 100 days, the Hutu tribe murdered 100,000 Tutsi. And just as a little flavour of what went on there, or a very moving song was sung at the Memorial Day. Please play that.
Suffering, 25 years of wandering, 25 years of remembering. Dore imyaka 25 irashize, twibuka abacu twabuze. Batuvuyemo tutabishaka, Imana ibahiruko ridashira. 25 years of suffering, 25 years of wandering, 25 years of remembering. No more genocide in Rwanda. No more genocide in the world. No more. No more, no more, no more.
So, if only. You may remember last year I talked about this guy, Leo, and how he became the tattooist of Auschwitz. It was really lovely that Alice came and saw me the other day, and she said she bought that for her mum for Christmas. So it's nice to know that there is an effect from these assemblies. He was carried in a cart across to Auschwitz, where he had that mantra in his head: I'll live to leave this place, and will walk out a free man. Talk about resilience, you know, he knew if he did it wrong, he was going to be murdered just like so many others in that camp. And somehow he survived and met his future wife in there. Also talked about Edith. She was the amazing psychologist she went on to be. But she went into Auschwitz, and her mother and her younger sister went one way, and her and a little sister Magda went the other. Remember, she talked about Magda's beautiful hair and how distraught she was when the Nazis shaved it all off. She danced to Joseph Mengele, the angel of death, and somehow managed to survive through it all. So, there are some numbers, okay, that we cannot forget on this very important day, and we should never forget. Does anyone know what those different numbers relate to? Staggering numbers, are massive numbers. Well, the first one, 1,100,000, was an estimate of how many Jews died in this place. Auschwitz. 6 million was how many Jews they estimate in total were murdered by the Nazi regime. And that's a really important distinction to make. It was the Nazi regime. Okay? Auschwitz is actually in Poland, and we'll come back to that in a bit, because it's raised its head. We're talking about divisions, we're talking about opposing divisions, we're talking about standing together. There was about 11 million people killed in all. Gypsies, disabled, political opponents. And the Holocaust is specific to the Jewish peoples. They called Shoah. And that specific event that happened in World War II. It's just a special name, if you like, for genocide, as happened in Rwanda, which is where they are trying to, one group of peoples is trying to eradicate, if you like, another group. Culturally, they might be different, they may have different religion. So Ivor was a survivor, and I think it's very fitting that they produced this little cartoon of his experiences, and it will hopefully relay some of the troubles that he went through. Thank you, sir.
Many of us learn about the terrible events of the Holocaust, but facts alone are not enough. It's so important to hear survivors' stories because they too speak for the millions of people who weren't permitted to tell theirs. Ivor Pearl is 82 and a survivor. In October 2014, I had the honour of meeting him and hearing about his life. He was born into a large family in Marko, Hungary. Anti-Semitism affected Jewish people there for generations.
It was like an ongoing thing, and it was part of life. I mean, I had to go to school. I had to practically walk the gauntlet, run the gauntlet. I mean, the last thing you did is go back home and tell your parents. And the police were the one who were causing all the problems.
The country was invaded in 1944, and they were forced to leave their home. Moved from ghetto to train, and train to camp, the family were pushed apart.
You know what it depended, our life depended on? This is instant decision like that, choosing which way to go. I went to one of the groups, my brother went to another group, and my father went to the third group. And I've never seen my father since.
Ivor experienced the terrible conditions of Auschwitz and Dachau.
Out of my family, and to live with 9 of us, 9 children, and two grandmother and father, So then me and my brother survived. He saved me from the jaws of death, literally. 3 times, definitely.
Trapped in the children's barracks where he sheltered from an air raid siren, Ivor was rescued by his brother Alec.
He said, come on, Ivor, you got to come out from there. I said, no, I can't, I'm scared. They found out that he tried to escape or something, or he'd be punished bad. I was literally scared. So no, come on, you must come out with me. And eventually he took me out. The following morning he woke up and the whole children's block was empty. All the children taken to the gas chamber.
Some things are too cruel to comprehend. He helped him escape the camp hospital, a dreadful place where he was ill with typhus. There was no proper treatment, and had he remained, there was little hope of recovery.
If he wouldn't have been there to help me out, I wouldn't have been there.
Ivor was 12 and a half at the time.
When I saw my granddaughter, you know what the bat mitzvah is?
Yeah.
Well, she was celebrating the bat mitzvah, she was 12 years old. I said, you know something, I was 12, that's the age I was when I was taken to Auschwitz.
In March 1944, there were 700,000 Jews in Hungary, and within 4 months, over half were killed.
Because, I mean, the figures that you're talking about are so enormous, are so horrendous, that it's very hard to comprehend.
One of the most frightening things is the terrible disconnect between the orders being given and the lives they affected.
Have you heard of the Monty Agreement? And that's when they come together at a meeting like we had here with cakes and tea, discussing how to dispose of people. What I keep saying is, I fear people more than God. That a day does not go by without some association that happens, whatever it is, of my background. But fortunately, I don't complain. Well, I just live.
After the war ended in 1945, Ivor and his brother emigrated to England.
I had 2 very, very lucky stroke-striped experiences in my life. Number 1, to have survived the Holocaust, and number 2, to have chosen England to be my country. Not only did I feel safe, I felt very, very elated. Honest and truly, I felt I'd arrived in heaven.
After arriving in England, Ivor built a life for himself.
I had my own business before I could even read or write or speak English. As soon as you can stand and walk, you have to go start everybody.
Ivor has 4 children and 6 grandchildren. His home is filled with family photographs. He has given talks at schools and religious centres about his experiences, but it took years before he was able to talk about the Holocaust, even with his own family.
My wife saying to me that, you know, Ivor, why don't you do something? I managed to get a computer. So sit down and sort of tell your story to your children, because I spoke about it to my children.
He documented his story for them, and it has now reached many other people and touched their lives. Talking about it can be painful, provoking questions that can't be answered.
What has it helped? What has the world learned since 1945? How would I behave if I could have been the Gentile? 1 week we should be friends playing with us, and the second week they were heading us into a ghetto.
Although, as Ivor says, there will never be another Holocaust, conflict and cruelty continue to happen, and remembrance is so important.
All I can do is talk about the experience what happened, and to tell whoever wants to listen what happens to people who follow that route. And it's like somebody said, you know what, even if there's only one person who has heard either me or somebody else's story and makes a difference, that, I mean, that alone would be for us to have spoken about it.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is not to sort of answer hate with hate. It's happened, it's happening, and possibly the human spirit will survive. I hope.
So one of the telling things I felt he said there was that he arrived in England feeling like it was heaven. You know, he was welcomed open arms. You know, would that be such the case today? It's a massive question, isn't it? so many divisions in our society. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia are all on the rise, are both on the rise. Hatred of somebody who's different, homophobia. How many of us are guilty of that at some point? This is the extension of that. The sort of legitimisation, you know, in hard times. Well, who did the Nazis blame for their misfortune? The Jewish people. In economic troubles, who did they blame? The Jewish people. And they became the scapegoat for this the Holocaust. Today, 200 survivors, there aren't many left, you know, are trying to meet at Auschwitz. It's a very powerful ceremony. They range between 75 years old and 91 years old. So do the math. Yes, somebody was actually born in December 1944, actually, just before it was liberated, in one of those bunkhouses. Somehow the mother gave birth, somehow the baby survived, and she's returning today. Very powerful. We hoped, this was from Belsen, image from Belsen, at the liberation. Emaciated doesn't really cover it, does it? Skinny beyond belief. They were eating barely anything. A gruel, a soup. And that's working themselves literally to death. And that was at the liberation of Belsen, one of the other concentration camps. We thought that's consigned to the past. And then this appeared from that 1994. Of a guy in a work camp. Doesn't look much different except its colour. Any ideas where that was, anybody? Yes?
Russia?
Russia? Okay, good guess.
Or Bosnia?
Bosnia. Well done. Okay, so in Bosnia, he was Fikret Alic, being because he was Muslim, Bosnian Muslim. Serbian army had captured him, if you like, and put him into one of their labour camps. And this was him. He survived, unlike many other Muslims, Bosnian Muslims, to be outside The Hague, which was the international tribunal for putting people on trial for war crimes. And the war crime was, amongst other things, genocide. This guy, Slobodan Milosevic, he was a politician, Serbian politician. And there we can see it just before the war. Gives you an idea of where it is, next to Italy, across the water from Italy. It was the old Yugoslavia, and it got broken up into 6 areas, 6 different countries. After Tito, who was the sort of leader after the war, a bit of a dictator, but he managed to keep that area together, if you like, and when he died, we saw the breakup of it into these different republics. The Serbians wanted the Bosnia and Herzegovina, they wanted to control some of the Bosnians, the Serbians that lived there. Okay? This guy, General Ratko Mladic, he was in charge of the forces, the Serbian forces, okay, that decided to basically herd into an area that was being protected by the UN. There was a small Dutch force there. And this safe area was supposed to be protected because they knew that potentially this guy and his forces would just wipe out any men that were around. Men ages 14 to 60 and older. Nedjad Avdic, I think was the way he said it. He was about 17 at the time. And he knew that this UN area was a safe place. It says when he was growing up, there was no political problem, no issues. He lived in a small little village. And then the troubles began. He was a Muslim, Bosnian Muslim, and the Bosnian Serbs were starting to try to take control of the locality. One day they heard that the soldiers were coming in, they kicked the door in, he'd escaped with his brothers out the back into the woods, and they arrested his father, beat him up, for nothing else other than being a Bosnian Muslim. Fear, making sure people were afraid. Well, they managed to sort of collect together and they decided to head to this UN area. And then they realised that it wasn't all going as they hoped. Suddenly 23,000, so huge numbers, 23,000 women and children were suddenly taken out of the area. They knew, the Bosnian Muslims, that there was something afoot. And then the small, underarmed UN peacekeeping force was overrun. They got out of there, which left these guys to fight with very small arms. They decided to try and get out of the area, an area called Srebrenica. They were shelled. Many people were killed on the way out. Remember, these are boys, 14, not much different to a lot of us in here, running for their lives, fearing for their lives, being blown to bits. And eventually, they had no food, nothing. They were captured, those that survived. He had his hands tied behind his back, stripped naked, and then was marched into a field. They were lined up in groups of 5 and simply shot. He was shot 3 times, I think in the arm, through the stomach, in the leg, and somehow survived incredibly. The soldiers going around didn't notice he was still alive. He waited till it was dark, and there was somebody else in a similar circumstance. He sort of said, "Am I dreaming? Am I alive?" And this guy said, "No, untie me, we'll try to escape together under the dark." And he did. Incredible story. But 8,000, nearly 8,000 men were killed over those few days. The general was sentenced to life, and Milosevic unfortunately died in prison. About 90 people were sort of gathered, if you like, the perpetrators of these war crimes, the genocide, and were convicted with varying sentences depending on what their involvement. This is only 25 years ago, and not so far away, is it? You know, you go on holiday to Italy. I'm sure some of you have been to Croatia on holiday, Bosnia, in that area. All children have a right to learn about what actually happened. We cannot bring up a new generation full of hatred. And so he talks about his experiences, very emotional. You can find him on YouTube.
Hello, my name is Olivia Marks-Waldman and I'm the Chief Executive of the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. I'm delighted you're attending today. You're taking part in one of 10,000 activities taking place right across the UK to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. Events that are taking place in prisons, schools, libraries, museums and civic ceremonies. Holocaust Memorial Day is an international day of remembrance to commemorate the 6 million Jews who were murdered in the Holocaust and the millions more murdered under Nazi persecution and in the genocides that followed in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. This year is a particularly significant year. It is the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the most notorious extermination camp, Auschwitz, and also the 25th anniversary of the genocide in Bosnia. Our theme this year asks people to stand together. We feel so much division in the world at the moment. It often feels fragile and vulnerable. We're asking you all to stand together and show solidarity with others and to challenge identity-based hostility. By the end of this event, I hope that you will all know more about what happened in the past and that you will understand the impact that it had on the individuals who were persecuted, and that you will go on to take action. You can find more at our website on hmd.org.uk. As we stand together for Holocaust Memorial Day 2020, I will leave you with the words of Sir Nicholas Winton, who rescued 669 children from Nazi-occupied Europe. He said, "Do not be content in your life just to do no wrong. Be prepared every day to try and do some good." Thank you for taking part in Holocaust Memorial Day and for taking the time to learn from genocide for a better future.
So the common theme when you're reading about various genocides is that, it's basically the guy next door. The people that it happened to didn't expect it to happen, but it did. And then their families were wiped out. People they knew and loved, completely gone. Very few survivors. Who have we got here? Come on. Is it outside Mr. Wayne's room? Yeah? Paris? That's it? Thank you. So, an activist, somebody trying to raise a profile about something that's happening. And this weekend, she was not previous week, she's been in Davos, trying to talk to those incredibly rich people and influence them. And that was an image from that. These are various activists, if you like, protesters, people that are trying to raise the profile of climate change, climate disaster, whatever you would like to call it, from around the world. The Associated Press, massive company, decided to print something. Did anyone see what it was? Or did anyone know what it was? Yes, sir.
They cropped the pictures there.
There you go. No, is it a week after Martin Luther King, his birthday? And there we have the Associated Press cropping out, as they call it, a person of colour. We regret publishing a photo this morning that cropped out Ugandan climate activist Vanessa Kate, the only person of colour in the photo. Wow. Division. It's all about standing together. The excuse was it looked better visually because it didn't have the building in the background. Incredible. But that type of racism, that type of segregation, division, is within society. It weaves its way through. We don't realise it's happening. And she said, I've never felt so low in all my life. I've never felt so removed from everybody in all of my life. Imagine that. You know that you've got that picture of you with Greta. You've done lots of amazing work in Uganda. Bear in mind, Uganda and Africa are the ones that produce the least CO2 and are going to be affected the most by it. And there she is, cropped out of that picture. Division. That's the image we should have seen, those guys standing together. Get Brexit done! That, in my opinion, is one of the worst periods in our history as a nation, because it has legitimised Johnny Foreigner. We're against him. We want to be different from him. We want to be separate from him. And most of it's to do with money. The guys at the top, what money are they making out of Brexit? Those hedge funders, 8 billion apparently, that have got their money tied up in us coming out. Massive influence. Images like that, we're at a breaking point. Can you imagine going back to Ivor Pearl, that Jewish refugee, coming across here? He said it was like arriving in heaven. Arriving in heaven. And we've got images like that in our press. We're not far from hate with things like that. We've had the Windrush scandal, where people were brought over from the West Indies to work for us as a nation, to rebuild us as a nation, and we're sending them back 30 years later. Incredible. People fleeing Libya, I think that is, coming across the Mediterranean. The boat so loaded, it tips over. I love that. Refugees of you and I, just with different circumstances. And that's what should be going on. What is it that's causing people to flee their home? How many of you would want to leave home tomorrow, tonight, now, be told to pack a bag and go? I know I wouldn't. I love living here. I love my family. I love everything about it. I wouldn't want to. I've been to lots of places in the world. The old adage, home is where the heart is. And it's exactly the same for these people. They're human beings like us. But they are driven away because of the political climate, because of economic sanctions, all sorts of different reasons. But it's got to be pretty massive, hasn't it? For you to leave your home. He's had a go at Greta. He's denying everything to do with climate change. He's creating a lot of fear in the world and division. We must really be careful when we are listening to people. What are they actually saying? He's being impeached at the moment. Only the fourth, I think, one to be impeached, president. It's being rubbished. It's being trashed by him on Twitter, that powerful thing, social media. It was all about building a wall, division. Is that really what should be happening between him and Mexico? Lots of areas of California wouldn't be able to survive without migrant workers picking, in the same way that we survive in this country with migrant workers doing seasonal work picking. Unfortunately, we've created such a hostile environment that those migrant workers aren't coming. You have more than you need. Build a longer table, not a higher wall. I think America has got definitely more than it needs. Unfortunately, just controlled by a few people. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Anyone know where that is? Any ideas? Callum? Man of the world? Wales. Okay. No. It's not Wales. Yes. Ireland. Yeah, a good possibility. You might think about the border in Ireland. No, it's actually Palestine. Israel. The wall that is built to, hopefully, from the Israeli point of view, keep out the Palestinians, stop their bombardments with their pea shooters against the Israeli might, supported by America. We talk about division, there it is. Art is a powerful way of conveying a message. Banksy, he's got a place out there. I'm going to show you some images. He's got the hotel out in Beirut, I think it is. President Netanyahu, I said it right, the Israeli president. Last week was supposed to meet with 4 leaders from Europe, one of which was the Polish leader. And this is where we've got to be really careful with language. He said, the Poles were guilty of collaboration with the Nazis. The Poles. That means the Polish nation was guilty of it. Some Poles may well have been under massive duress, like everybody else, but not the whole nation. Just because Auschwitz was in Poland doesn't mean that they were responsible, the Polish people, for what happened there. The Nazis built that there. Obviously, the Polish Prime Minister said, I'm not coming to have a meeting with you. And there's been a big row about that this week. Language, divisions, got to be really, really careful what we say. 75 years on. 75 years on, and that is still being said. So over the weekend, Prince Charles, I didn't know this about Prince Charles. And so when you do look into things, you always get little gems. His grandmother was Princess Alice, who was the granddaughter of Queen Victoria. She was born in about 1895. She was born deaf. By about the age of 8, she could lip read, and so coped with life that way. She actually lived in Athens, and so his dad, Prince Philip, was her son. She had the strange honour, if you like, of having people fighting within her family, fighting for the Germans, fighting for Britain. She was connected to all the royal families within Europe. Now, during the war, she stayed in Athens, and there was a family called the Cohens, which is a very Jewish name. I think the father had been a politician, and obviously the Italians who actually were in Greece at that time weren't quite strict about the Jewish problem, as the Nazis called it. But then as the German forces arrived and the Nazi sort of propaganda really started to kick in, the Jewish people became very fearful for their lives. And Princess Alice, his grandmother, took in this family and actually protected them through from about 1944 to the end of the war. She was given a massive honour by the Jewish people, and she actually was buried in the Garden of Gethsemane in Jerusalem. About 18 years after she died, she was moved there as an honour, because she, despite being interviewed by the Gestapo, didn't give that family up, that Jewish family up. She was a princess. She didn't need to do that, did she? Amazing. And he's been going around to celebrate the anniversary and doing the right thing. He's met leaders from all the sides, all the religious peoples there, hoping for freedom, justice and equality. I think that's what we all hope for, isn't it? I'm sure the Ugandan activists would say the same about that image. That's all I wanted, was equality with Greta. And there's some more of Banksy on the West Bank, the Gaza Strip. I think art has a powerful way of transcending everything. I'm passionate about just those images and what they mean. And so I asked anniversary of the Holocaust. Standing together, they've always used the candle, the light, as their image. And I asked her to come up with something. And here's one of the sort of drawings, the start drawings, if you like. There's a candle there, you can't see at the bottom, and a baby being held in the flame. And there's a little bit more development. It wasn't just, oh, I just drew it, just came up with it. And there's a final image. Very powerful. It represents those that have died at the bottom there. And they have a connection through the wick into the flame for the future. The baby and the light represent, she said, hope. I sincerely hope that we can learn from the genocides of the past, and hope we can learn about divisions in our society. And can we do something every day to maybe stop that? So, at this point, I think I've given you enough to think about, to do with genocide, to do with division, maybe how you see each other. And I think we should just be fitting now that we light a candle for every year of that has gone past since the Holocaust. But those candles also represent remembrance for all the other, genocides that have happened around the world. It's 25 years since Bosnia. I think in 1915 there was a genocide in Armenia. So there's a lot of remembrance to go. So, if I could have some staff at the side, there are some candles, there are three lighters. And then if you could come out one by one, light the candle, and you can play that music, sir. This music is stimulated, if you like. The idea came from a Gestapo cell where an 18-year-old woman scratched into the cell wall some lyrics, some words that were converted into lyrics. It's a very powerful piece of music. So if you could lower the lights just a little bit, Lee, and then if one by one you can come out, light your candle, put it here, and stand behind that. Wonderful. Thank you. Come this way.
supposedly.
If you know the lights right down, so we'll have a minute silence and then we'll leave for lessons.